Howdy friends, welcome back to the Hunger Games Plot Analysis Part 4. I break down the Hunger Games plot, share fun fact, things you might have missed in the book-to-movie adaptation, what was changed in the book-to-movie adaptation, and why you should read these books, because I think this story is so important, is more important now than ever. When we last left off, Katniss and Peeta had just been chosen, and now she's saying her goodbye in the Judicial Hall. Her goodbye to Prim is super emotional, as you can imagine, and Prim makes her promise that she's going to try to win. Her goodbye to Gale is much more uplifting, where he's like, you can do this, like, you know hunting, you know how to use a bow. Her goodbye to her mother is super intense, and she's like, you can't disappear like last time. In the last video, we were talking a little bit about why Katniss is so resentful towards her mother's origin of leaving her sort of higher up merchant class in District 12, moving to the Seam, falling in love with Katniss's father, leaving her kind of like, slightly more economically well-off life, and throughout the series, how she kind of returns back to her apothecary roots. Something super interesting is the Mockingjay pin. So in the books, Madge, who's the governor's daughter, one of Katniss's friends. We also mentioned in the last video that there was this really sweet moment between the governor and Katniss where there's this moment of recognition, just who she is and what she represents to his daughter. But in the movies, Madge is not the one that gives Katniss this pin, which comes to take so much, symbolism. This pin ends up representing the Mockingjay, which is the symbol of the rebellion, the symbol of uprising against the Capitol across the books, across the movies. But in the movie, she gets it from one of the marketeers at the Hop, which is where she'll often sell game and where she says in the books that she makes most of her money. One of the things that I think is really so endearing about Katniss and Gale's characters is that they have this fierce loyalty for their family. One of the things that Gale says as he's being taken out by the peacekeepers when she's saying her goodbyes is that he promises he won't let her family starve. And one of the things that's really kept them together throughout their friendship is that they really take care of and look out for one another. When they're hunting together in the woods, they're thinking of how can we get game to feed my family? And also how can we get game so that we can sell and exchange it at the Hop to get all the things that my family might need. I do really wish the movie would have included the Madge moment because it's such a powerful scene in the books. Something else that I thought was fascinating is that in the books, Katniss's goodbyes are also included by Peeta's father. He brings her cookies. It's such a small gesture. In their world, it's huge because she can't afford cookies. Even in District 12, there's so much wealth disparity. Peeta's family comes from, a bakery, so they can afford food. And so the idea of getting cookies, it's just so sweet and moves her. And it's a luxury that she could never afford. The fact that he too tells Katniss he's going to take care of her family is just beautiful. In the next video, we're going to talk about Haymitch Abernathy. Also so funny that sci-fi people always include Abernathy. That's a classic sci-fi name. Spec fiction, dystopian fiction, there's always someone named Abernathy. We're going to talk about him, and then we're also going to talk about Tatiana Maslany and the new edition of the Hunger Games audiobooks.